Gents, I'm Cade.
I'm Anthony.
Welcome to Geek Space, where we're going to talk about everything geeky, such as video games, anime, movies, comic books, whatever you want us to talk about, leave in the comments. We'll talk about it if we don't already touch up on it.
Or if you disagree, just let us know. We'll discuss that too.
We're up to debate.
Yep.
Today we're talking about Batman. It just came out. People have already seen it, so I know there might be a couple other videos out there that are a lot better than us. We're just starting. Give us a break.
No budget.
But today we're going to talk about the Batman. And the way that we're running things on this YouTube channel / podcast, that's right, podcast too. YouTube channel, we'll talk about what we want out of this movie. And then on our podcast, we'll leave a spoiler review and rating of what we think about the movie and everything like that. So let's just jump right into it. What do you want out of this Batman movie?
I'm wanting more to see more of the detective side of Batman. Like we've seen somewhat of it in the past films, not really so much with the Christian Bale films. You see a lot of just the fighting and how brutal he is and how dark Batman can be. But we haven't really seen the detective side of Batman. You know, that's kind of how he started Detective Comics. That's where he was first introduced. I kind of want to see more of that. And I think with the Riddler being involved in this sense and with this version of the Riddler, I think we're going to see a lot more of that in this movie. Just because, and don't get me wrong, I love the Jim Carrey Riddler. I love how goofy he was. But that wasn't really... how do I put this? I can't even put it in the words real quick. He didn't really give Batman a challenge. He was more just he was trying to destroy the city type of thing.
Kind of like a more goofy character.
Yeah. This Riddler seems a lot darker. I'm also curious to see how what's her name plays as Catwoman compared to how she was played in the Dark Knight films.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how Catwoman is in this film. And I'm curious to see how the Penguin is in this film as well. Other than that, I haven't seen any spoilers. I've just heard that it's been a really good film, so I'm excited to see how it takes today.
Right, and I kind of have to touch up on what you said too. I feel that, because in Christian Bale, I felt we got more of the action sequences of the Batman than we did Detective, because I feel like he had more of Lucius's help with a lot of the more detective side of things in the Dark Knight films. But yeah, I want to see that, you know, and I've heard when the movie was like coming out and in production and everything that the cops hate Batman in this movie only because he is the world's greatest detective and he's kind of a showboat.
That's like his title. You know, we didn't really get that in previous films. We just see, him coming out, beating up the bad guys, and that was it. Like he already knew. But Batman's supposed to be one of the smartest minds in, the DC comic world.
Right.
So I want to see if that actually comes into play here in this movie. That's pretty much my expectations for it. Like I said, I've heard it's pretty well up there with the other movies, but we will see. You know me, I'm a really big judge on Batman. So
yeah. Another thing that I want out of this though, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of controversy back from this because we've seen Batman's origin so many times. The one thing I want to see though is not necessarily the origin story, but like what I was expecting them to do with Spider-Man in the MCU, I want them to do with Batman, where it's like, we don't need to see the origin, but this is a new Batman. This is basically a new character than what we've seen, So we've seen Batfleck's origin story, basically like a clip of it. We've seen Christian Bale's, but like, what about Robert Pattinson? Yes, I know his parents are dead, but in what sense did his parents die? Was it Joe Chill? Is it going to be a hit on Thomas Wayne type origin story or just a mugging incident type thing?
I really hope that they don't do the origin thing again. I really did like how in the MCU they did the whole they didn't give us the origin for Spider-Man until basically the No Way Home. So I really hope they go that route with this movie, because we've seen it so many times. Batman and Spider-Man, I think, have one of the most well-known origin stories. That and Superman, but so we don't need to see it in every movie to understand. We get it. His parents died.
Right.
They got shot.
It's not that I want to see his parents die. It's that I want to see him. I want to see him touch up on it a little bit. Because in Spider-Man, they never mentioned Ben Parker.
No, they never mentioned Uncle Ben at all.
No. So, like, maybe, like, for instance, the Telltale series, video games, right? Mm-hmm. Batman has the tickets of his dead parents sitting there. You don't see his parents' death. I mean, he investigates it, but it's implied. It's implied. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, I guess, in the movie, if they see what they do. Apparently, and I guess in this one, he's already been Batman for a little bit. Yeah. It's like his first year as Batman or something like that. It's his second year as Batman. Okay. Then but so he's pretty well, he's known already, compared to how Spider-Man was. He was only for 6 months before they introduced him. So Batman should be pretty well known to the police and to Commissioner Gordon and all that.
Do you think Riddler is the best villain for this movie?
Yes, because like I said, I really hope they do the detective side of Batman, and I feel like the Riddler is the best way to start off with that. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they didn't do the Joker. The Joker, I feel, would have been the easier way out. Yeah. And to follow up with Joaquin Phoenix's performance, in my opinion, I feel it's too soon. From what Matt Reeves said, they don't plan to do a crossover with that Joker movie and his Batman. This Batman apparently it's its own universe. Nothing's touching it. He doesn't want it mixed with the DCEU or anything like that, which is fine by me.
I kind of like the fact that they're doing that too, because I feel like the DCEU is already so messed up. It's already so gone with everything they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing. I think the Flash movie is going to reset a lot of the stuff for the DCU, and I think that's why everything's coming in with the Flash movie. And Black Adam. I think Black Adam is going to do a bigger impact than we think, with how many characters are involved. But I think they're looking. I think that Flash movie is going to do a Flashpoint type setting. Yeah. To where it resets a lot of what's already been happening, because that's really the only route I can think of them going, because everything is so bad and messed up. They already lost their Superman and their Batman from this universe. Unless they do the Flashpoint and reset it and recast the parts, I don't see the DCU picking up. They can't really just rely on Aquaman and the Flash. Yeah. And I mean, and the latest Wonder Woman movie wasn't really that good either. Oh, it was
a lot more Diana Prince than it was Wonder Woman.
I won't lie, it put me to sleep. It really did. Yeah. I couldn't stay awake. I fell asleep for most of it. I had to watch it a good 3 times before I could actually finish it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a fan of the Wonder Woman movie. The first Wonder Woman movie that came out, it was pretty good. I really enjoyed Wonder Woman, and I really enjoyed Aquaman. So I'm really hoping this new Aquaman, was it Lost Kingdom? Yeah. Yeah. From the stills that they've released, it looks pretty good. Yeah. It looks pretty good. Back to the Batman, since that's what we were talking about. What do you think of Andy Serkis as Alfred? Okay, so Andy Serkis, right? We've seen him as a villain. We've seen him as a guy that's the antagonist. So he's and I feel like he does really good in those roles of being
the bad guy.
The bad guy, mm-hmm. Right? So to see him as Alfred, right? Especially with the couple Alfreds we've gotten from Gotham and the Dark Knight trilogy, mm-hmm. those guys fit perfectly into those roles as Alfred, because Alfred's supposed to be kind of the like, how do I say it? He's the parental,
father figure.
Exactly. Like he's supposed to be that parental guy to Bruce, saying
he takes care of him, tells him he's the only one I think to tell Bruce no.
Yeah.
Other than actually no one else. No one tells Bruce no.
And I mean, because since it's been out, obviously Instagram has blown up with some things. Everybody says Andy Serkis does an amazing job at that.
See, I haven't read or seen anything about him playing Alfred. I'm pretty happy I haven't seen. I want to see how he does. What do you think about what do you expect from Robert Pattinson about being Bruce? Okay,
so what I expect from Robert Pattinson. So obviously, what we've heard is that this Batman is going to kind of explore a darker, Batman, basically. And what I'm expecting from Robert Pattinson is to kind of fit into that, because like Batman's supposed to be more of a darker, based on fear type character.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, Christian Bale did a great job, except for the voice.
I swear to God. Swear to me.
I feel like the voice didn't strike fear into anybody.
Mm-hmm. I can say the same thing about Ben Affleck. I did not like Ben Affleck's Batman. It irritated the heck out of me.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
And that's just me. Like, if you guys disagree, that's just me. It sounded like a freaking robot box in his throat. It just didn't sound right to me. Like it doesn't sound like it. I don't know.
No, I agree with that. Like Ben Affleck's voice wasn't Batman, and I mean even Michael Keaton's, right? And I love Michael Keaton, by the way, the greatest Batman I think we have. We'll see. We'll see
after today.
But it goes Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, then Ben Affleck. We don't talk about Val Kilmer or George Clooney. That I don't talk about them.
They're not included. they don't get included.
But even Michael Keaton didn't have the Batman voice, but he had the iconic line, "I'm Batman."
Yeah.
So what I want from Robert Pattinson is to be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And
from what the trailer sounded, it doesn't sound like he's using a Batman voice. It sounds like he's just using he's just speaking. Right. And I don't think Batman's ever used the Batman voice. I don't think that was ever a thing until Christian Bale made his voice, the way it was.
I mean, even in the animated series, which I know we can't put it, along the live action of Batman, but even in the animated series, Bruce Wayne sounded like Batman, and Batman sounded like Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
However, it's supposed to be like the reason for the mask, the reason for the character change is because even though the voices sound the same, Bruce Wayne can't be Batman because Bruce Wayne's sleeping with like 3 different girls.
Exactly.
While the Batman is like scary character.
It's the same with Spider-Man. Peter Parker never changes his voice under the mask. It's just the mask,
Right.
They talk all the same. Same with Superman and all that. So when the Batman voice came out, I was like, what the?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I'm hoping that he doesn't do that with his voice. I'm hoping he just talks. If he does it a little bit, I can kind of get it.
Right.
But
I feel like there should be a difference I feel like there should be a slight difference in voices. Because with some of the ways you talk to people, right? Like if you're in Walmart, somebody clips your hair, you're not going to turn around and go, "Hey, that hurt." No, you're going to be like, "Hey, man, like watch it." There's a slight change in voice, especially with somebody that's based off vengeance and darkness and everything.
Well, I guess we'll see when we see this movie.
Yeah, but another thing that I want in this Batman movie, what I want is I want to see Bruce Wayne. Okay, because like.
Yeah, we don't really see much of Bruce in the previous films. Like he's there, he's spotted at parties, he's the playboy, whatever. but you don't really see much of his side. It's always,
right.
just
and so Bruce Wayne is the mask for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
However, we don't see enough of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, you only see the Batman, which, I mean, sure, yeah, that's the basis of the film. That's who the character is Batman. But I want to see Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to see. Because watching some of the trailers and everything, like watching some of the clips that have come out and everything, it doesn't seem like Robert Pattinson talks as Bruce Wayne.
Guess we'll find out. Maybe they just didn't show it.
Maybe they didn't. But like the what is it? The funeral scene that comes up, right? The funeral scene, like, he just kind of looks at somebody and someone's like, "Oh, hey, Bruce Wayne," and he just stands there. I'm like, you want to talk to the guy, or?
I guess we'll find out when we see the film.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked at the cast list and I was a little shocked to see that there are 2 characters in there that haven't been named, or there's two actors in there that haven't been named any characters. And that's J.K. Simmons and Margot Robbie. Now,
you think J.K. Simmons is going to make an appearance as Commissioner Gordon again?
Well, I don't know. Because Matt Reeves has specifically said this has no tie-in with the DCEU, but these are 2 DCEU characters.
But also, I don't know. I don't ever really trust cast lists. Like, if you look it up, I don't ever really believe that 100%. Because if you looked up Spider-Man No Way Home cast list, you saw Ryan Reynolds, you saw all these other people on there that were never appeared in the film, So when it comes to them, you have to take it with a grain of salt. They might be in it, they might not. But like that's just my prime example. When you looked up Spider-Man No Way Home, you saw a bunch of cast members that people who just decided to throw them in, because for hope. Like for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it's showing that what's his name? The one who played Daryl in The Walking Dead. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, though. He's coming in as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it says he's there for Ghost Rider.
Right.
But that's neither been confirmed. He hasn't even said that he's picking up a part as Ghost Rider, So when it comes to seeing cast lists and all that, I usually take it with a grain of salt. And I'm like, if they show, cool. If not,
See,
oh well.
And here's the thing about Harley Quinn, right? Like, Margot Robbie being Harley Quinn, I don't think there's ever been a better casting for the character. Margot Robbie does such a great job. Even in the original Suicide Squad movie, which sucks. I don't like that movie, by the way. To anybody out there watching, I don't like the original Suicide Squad. The new Suicide Squad was great. The original, I stay away from it. But even then, that movie, she did great. Like, she does an amazing job playing Harley Quinn. So I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing her as Harley Quinn in these movies, except I know that'd be really confusing.
Yeah, it'd be really very
especially
confusing.
Since she's in the DCEU.
That would be as confusing as the Morbius movie coming out with Michael Keaton in there playing Vulture, but yet it's not tied into any of the Spider-Man movies yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not tied into the MCU, but yeah, Michael Keaton is in there as Vulture. And then they have Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but it's rumored that it's in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe. So, like, that's already very confusing just from that trailer. So we have to wait for that movie to come out to see what's actually going on with that. But we do know it's in the Sony, what was it? This
Sonyverse.
I think it was the something characters of Spider-Man, villains of Spider-Man verse, or something like that. I can't remember the actual official name, but yeah, that universe. So Venom is in that universe, and Kraven's going to be in. Kraven is going to be in that universe, and Morbius is right there.
Yeah, there's like no Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's no Spider-Man. It's just those villains so far, the anti-heroes. But yeah, because I don't think they've had a villain yet, because all the ones they've done are anti-heroes, to where they can swing it to where they can be heroes, and they can swing it to where they're also a little bit of a villain. But yeah, that trailer right there in itself was confusing. So seeing cast lists and all that, I take it with a grain of salt. Right. And if they do include them, that'll just be confusing for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want to talk about IGN, because that it shocks me to see IGN ratings of things right now, because they rated Spider-Man No Way Home a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great movie, and I thought that I could agree with that rating. However, after the Batman came out, they rated it a 10 out of 10. What makes it better than Spider-Man No Way Home? Because I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. You're living in a cave or something. Get it, Batcave? Anyways.
Good one.
Thank you. But you need to go see that movie. It's one of the best movies that have come out. Even if you're not a Spider-Man fan. I mean, so my dad, he doesn't really necessarily like any of this stuff. However, he went to go see Spider-Man, and he said it was a really good movie, you know, and like he's the number one person to say, "Oh, I hate that they made 3 Spider-Man movies," but he went and saw this movie, and he said it was great. So basically, for my dad to rate it a 10 out of 10, but IGN only rating it a 9.5 out of 10, and then the Batman being a 10 out of 10, like I don't know what to think. You know, obviously until after we see the movie, but it's like there's so many components of Spider-Man No Way Home that were absolutely perfect. That made it like just a cinematic masterpiece that I want to see what Matt Reeves did to the Batman to make it better than Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see why they rated it 10 out of 10 as well. I can't really compare them yet until we see it. So I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think all that's left is to go see the movie. And if you guys want to hear our spoiler review, follow us on Spotify under Geek Space, and you'll get to hear our actual review.
Yep.
Of
So
what we actually think of the movie.
We should explain. We have a 5, basically like a 5-point rating.
Mm-hmm.
1 out of 5 sucks. Just wait till it comes out on Netflix. Not worth the money. 5 out of 5, get up, go watch it right now. You know, that's kind of our rating. And then in between, we'll kind of explain. Yeah. So, listen to the podcast. You'll get that rating. And other than that, thanks for geeking out with us.
Join us again.